Going to be loads, I think.
I will say this before.
When you say surprises, not necessarily surprises in a lot of people's eyes, but new players and different players. There's a change of the guard, isn't there? Go on, Jim, you were saying.
Before you get into it, I think England are going to be very good this Six Nations for the reasons that, Andrew, you're going to go through because of the quality of players and the way that these players are playing at the minute.
Yeah.
Loads to choose, absolutely loads to choose from. I don't think it's ever been harder for Steve Borthwick to choose a bunch of players.
The biggest thing for Steve and the hardest thing for Steve is to go away from his identity, because a lot of these players don't suit a Steve Borthwick coach team that we've spoken about, as in kick chase, defence, lineouts, scrums, the basics of rugby that he's built, foundations at Leicester and that stuff. And then we saw he took over the England job and he's like, I've got 9 months until the World Cup, so I've got to put building blocks in place. And, we saw how England did well, came third, lost to South Africa by a point in the semi. And it wasn't enthralling rugby to watch, but effectively he was winning games however which way, which got us to a semi-final and could have beaten South Africa. And then finished third. So kudos for all that stuff. But it's now time to evolve. And a lot of the players that are on form were watching the Gallagher Premiership and the Investec Champions Cup and seeing the likes of Tommy Freeman play really well, Ollie Lawrence, Henry Slade's back in the mix, Marcus Smith.
You reckon Henry Slade's back in?
Henry Slade has to be back
I hope so.
Just picking on form. And Steve has openly said, opposite of Eddie Jones didn't really care about Premiership form, did he? And he openly said that. He said, mate, it's not about being a Premiership rugby player. Steve believes in it. And we're seeing a lot of these players play exceptionally well. The big ones are around the props at the minute with all the injuries. Theo Urboso on the wing. He's English till he dies.
I think he's 25,000 reasons why he's English.
There's a lot of good young talent. Ironically, there's a fair bit at Saints. And these players who haven't got much international or any international experience, bar Henry Slade, are really going to step up. The big one, and it's always, I'm a bit biased because I'm a fly half, is who are you building your team around at 10? We know Faz is out. It's got to be Marcus Smith, in my opinion. And that then dictates how a team can play. And Steve has to evolve as a coach in terms of what he's always coached his teams to play and to have the basics of a solid foundation, and without building on too many blocks of attack to it. So loads of exciting players. The problem is the front row is going to be a bit of an issue for if Genge isn't fit, Joe Marler's not fit, Sinclair, depends on him, not fit. You're then going down, and we saw at the weekend in some games how important scrums is, and it's magnified more and more at international level. If you're getting hosed in the scrum, you ain't winning a test match, are you? So players like Beno Urbano, who's played exceptionally well.
Played very well at the weekend.
There's Asher Opoku Forjour at Sale. He's not started many, if any, games. He's come off the bench and had big impacts. But, Steve now has to evolve the team in terms of how we play, but also the personnel. And there's going to be a team picked and a squad picked, and some of them are going to have very little international experience, which is both exciting and semi-daunting. But luckily, we start with the easy two: Italy away and then Wales at home.
And that's the thing. I think that makes a difference. Do you not think?
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Italy, I don't know whether Steve will see this, but say you want to mix it up completely. So say you want to go in and be like, right, we've lost Faz. We can't pick a number of players now because they're playing abroad. Like, how do you do it? Like, do you go straight in and Ben Spencer at 9, for example?
Yep.
If that's the way you want to go tactically, kick in.
I actually don't think Ben Spencer starts at 9.
No, Mitchell will start
Mitchell's
at 9.
Been on fire.
But that's what I mean. So it depends how you want to go. So you imagine a back line of England. So on form, Alex Mitchell.
Yeah.
You go Marcus Smith.
Yeah.
You go Ollie Lawrence at 13. But you could put him at 12. And then that 13 spot opens up. Freeman can play 13 or play in the back 3.
Yeah. But you could play Slade and Lawrence together.
But you could play Slade if you're going on form.
Yeah.
And you've got Freddie Stewart. You've got
the wingers. You've got Cock and a Singer. You've got Will Muir. You've got Freeman.
Will Muir at the weekend.
The horse.
As in, doesn't look
he's on
like
the horse as well.
He definitely. Yeah. Absolutely. Of course he is. But you can go through the names. But when you say that team out loud, you think, but on form,
Yeah.
that's the route you could go down. It would be unbelievable from an England fan in terms of attack and how you want to go about it.
But you've got to allow the players to play that way. Yeah, there's a load of other players as well that are performing in the Prem.
Rob, any?
Well, Finn Smith at 10. Is he back up 10?
Well, George Ford's injured at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, if you're planning for the future.
Yeah, I think Marcus Smith and Finn Smith, both in.
George Ford's in there as well.
Yeah, Northampton are so good, aren't they? You know what I mean? Like, you look at Northampton play and you watch them absolutely pull the pants down of Bayonne. They weren't even wearing pants. You watch what they did against it and you could be like, every single one of them players could go and play international rugby, but you can't base it on a team run.
No. It's exciting. It's more about the identity of the team, though, and how that changes. In the back row, Tom Pearson at Northampton, he's been phenomenal.
Love him.
Courtney Laws is playing the best rugby ever since he's retired from international rugby, but Tom Pearson's ready to go in that. Alfie Barbary, if he doesn't get banned, has been brilliant over the last few weeks.
Again, I spoke to Alfie. I was like, hey, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing it. I said, what's Steve saying? Kick chase. Big thing for him. Big work on. But you know what? Goody, don't you dare.
Hold on. That's Alfie Barbary's work on. Kick chase.
No, not
just 50-metre sprints, lads.
Not all of that, but like as in
that's the worry for me. Yes, it's a big part of the game, especially international rugby. But if that's your driver and if that's your first thing you think about, no.
But he's good at everything else. But I watched the game and I was watching Alfie. And when you say kick chase,
you don't want him kick chasing.
No, it's not. It's fitness.
You want him at the back.
You want him in the backfield, but it's fitness. So that's when people hear, you kick chase. I'm watching Alfie and he's slightly behind the line. Like if I'm being critical because I love him as a player,
and ran over 4
exactly.
Khaleesi, sit.
So I'm watching Alfie and he's a little bit like that first kind of 5 meters of acceleration.
Yeah,
it's great that you shared that. Hopefully he doesn't mind. I mean that's part of it. You want a bit of insight. He might be getting banned anyway. But spin with his mum. But Alfie Barbary would love to see him. You imagine a back row: Ben Earl, Alfie Barbary, a Tom Pearson, and then you've got the Curry boys that you could throw into the mix as well. You've got a George Martin who for me is shooing at number 4.
Yeah, but I think he'll go. In terms of starting, he'll go one of those in the back row. So Chesham, George Martin, and Marrow. 3 players. There's only 2 second row slots, so I think another one plays 6, which maybe means the balance. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll see a bit of everything from everyone.
Do you think Steve will allow them to play second rugby there? Do you think it's in his nature to allow that?
I hope he's evolving and watching what players are doing on the field. Because you can't get away from the fact that the game's changed hugely over the last few years in terms of attacking mindset. Yes, there was a big draw around the World Cup and South Africa won it, and they played a lot of attacking. They evolved as a team, but then went back to type to win the World Cup, didn't they? So it depends what you're looking at. Now, if we're talking about a connection with the fans and feel-good factor and all that stuff, you want the team to have an attacking mindset, and it's easier for us to sit here and say it. Steve's not going to be under pressure for his job unless we lose to Italy and Wales, and have an absolute stinker. But we can't just keep kicking it, chasing it, and then hoping that teams make mistakes. And then that's our DNA of a rugby team, because continually doing that will make people. We remember the noises around the World Cup of how England were playing, but you were getting away with it because we were winning and we got to a semi-final. If you're losing playing that way regularly, you have to change, and it will soon create ill feeling. We saw how quickly everyone turned on Eddie Jones at Twickenham. There was all the boos and all that stuff because people weren't entertained, and an England fan would rather see a team attack and try than just kick and chase and lose games. So I think he has to evolve. He's not going to go, hey, let's play like Harlequins, or let's play sevens or chuck it around completely. But you have to have the license, and giving Marcus Smith the 10 shirt is paramount to that, because he can play both ways. He can manage a game, but he sees things that a lot of other 10s don't see, especially English 10s. So you need to have that attacking intent and that excitement as part of your game. Yes, you need all the other bolt-ons as well and building blocks, but Steve has to evolve as well. And the evolution is there might be a bit of pain, along the way where we're trying to evolve, but we are trying to evolve, not I'm just here to win a game of rugby and off we go.
So the spine analogy is a great one. And
how's your spine?
bent,
Weak.
but fucking strong. No, it's bent, but strong. I'm telling you now, I've got a strong spine. Dense, but bent.
Yeah.
Just like, no. So, the spine of a team. So when I was researching Gloucester, and this is a perfect kind of analogy to use from a club level, and then we'll get into it. They've lost the spine of their team.
What do you consider the spine of a team, James?
Go down the middle. You ready?
Yeah.
So hooker.
Yeah.
And then you can maybe branch into a big line-out call in second row from Scotland who's got a beard and got a massive...
I don't reckon second rows have ever really been part of the spine of a team. But
a line-out call, line-out.
Yeah, yeah.
Hooker, 1 second row, number 8,
Yeah.
your 9, your 10.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say your 15 as well, but your 15 not as much.
Yeah.
The spine of your team is your key specialist positions. You need a hooker who can throw the ball. Yes, you need a prop, but you could argue every single position. You need an 8 to get you over the gain line. I'm going to be biased. You need a second row that can call a line out and charge down and counter ruck and just be an all-round fucking legend, bringing back a bit of nostalgia. You need a 9.
Yeah.
Obviously, sniper, box kicks. You need a 10.
Yeah.
And Ronan O'Gara said you need 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Everything else you can fit around that. I'm going to say second row again. Will Skelton. Look at the influence he has. If you've got a Will Skelton, my goodness, you don't need anyone else.
Big Willie, little
He's
Willie.
just Big Willie now. That's it. That's the spine. You agree the spine of the team?
Yeah, you could chuck a centre in there as well if he's a sort of decision maker, communicator.
Alcatraz Lawrence at the minute.
Yeah, ridiculous. But yeah, you're right. And what do you consider? Do you consider it a problem that there's going to be a lot of mix and matching? Would you go Danny Kerr and Marcus Smith at 9 and 10, so you've got that little bit of club understanding? And
I think you need to go with the spine, and that's the one that sees you through. So you double down on what you're doing. So if you've got Jamie George on the next cycle, you put him in. You've got Marrow, you put him in. You've got your number 8, which they haven't really had. They've messed around with that position.
Go on, are you going?
Me?
Yeah.
Swear to God.
Yeah.
Alfie Barbary. He just offers something different with the side. This isn't me fanboying.
What I thought you were going to go then is gone Jamie George, gone Marrow, then you've gone Ben.
Oh no, Saracens are in transition. They're in transition. So that's what I would go. And it's young. It's a little bit kind of sideways. I'm just looking at what I'm seeing. And I'm looking at Alfie Barbary, and this has got nothing to do with me fanboying because I was at the weekend and we spoke about him last week. He's sitting down, Lucy, in the channels. He'd scored one that got disallowed. Yes, there's a few issues in his game around the high tackle. Amen. Amen to that, brother. He's a man of the people.
But what I will say, I saw abs.
Did you?
Yeah, that's why I saw abs. He's like, Steve, he didn't pull it down. Like, if that's a lot of players, you fucking pulling your
You need
down
an 8. You need an 8 to get you over the game. So if you think you've got a Barbary and you've got an Ollie Lawrence and you've not got a Manu Tuolangi.
I thought you weren't a Bath fan, James.
I'm not a Bath fan
Look
yet.
at you.
I'm warming to them. I just didn't like the energy in the stage. Just not there yet. But I'm easily convinced. So that's the spine.
Yeah.
And your 10. And the issue you've got, and the issue has been around Owen Farrell because he's so opinionated, he's so integral, he's the captain, and he's an alpha. That you probably couldn't get away with what they're doing. Like, now's the time for them. If you've got Marcus Smith, here's the keys to the Ford Fiesta, which England are at the minute, even though they finished third
in the world, mate.
I know,
We're the third best
in terms of
team.
how you're playing,
Mate, we are the third best team in the world.
Okay, so you've got a Ford Fiesta with a great engine in it, but looks shit. So there you go. There's the keys. Yeah, that's where I would go. Who would you go at 8? Come on. I know we can pick it before, but so if I'm thinking about an Alfie Barbary, I think Don Brandt looks great. Looks a bit weird being leaner, but looks good in how he's playing. I don't see Ben Earl as an 8, even though he's happy to play 8. I see him as a 7.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Ben Earl did a damn good job at the World Cup. I think Ben Earl has to be in the back row, so probably 7. I'm with you, but I'm Alfie Barbary. Alfie Barbary, as long as it's probably getting banned though. That's the problem. Which I think he'll end up with He'll probably end up with a 3-week ban. We'll find out who's in the squad and what Steve we're going to... Who skips? Jamie George. Who are you going for skipper, Jim? Because there's 2 big captaincy calls to be made this Six Nations.
Well, as an England fan, you want to know early, but you've got Ellis Genge, who is injured at the minute.
Jamie George is injured as well.
He was, Jamie George is injured, So, hard, isn't it? It's a hard... I mean, I like a forward as a captain.
Marrow? That's a no.
No. I don't think he's a captain.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't think he's a captain. I don't know. I think
if Jamie George is fit, I think you've probably got to go Jamie George.
I think if Ellis Genge is fit, he'll go with Ellis Genge.
Yeah.
He was sat with him watching the game.
Yeah.
So I'm going based on that.
Well played, Ellis. Well played.
Smart. Get yourself on camera. But who else is there? But maybe it's someone else to come to the fore. Does Danny care if he starts at 9, which he won't?
Mitchell's our best 9, I think.
Hardcore, who knows?
Time will tell. Steve, over to you.
Over to you. Good luck.
Pod.
Rugby Pod.